Hello guys, can you able to hear me now? Was that disconnect or what? Looks like your meeting got disconnected. Audible to everyone. Please confirm. Okay. Okay. Not sure. Okay, I just hold for some time. Okay, let me check it's normal. Is it not like any issues still? Confirm, I need to check. Guys, is that better now? Please confirm. Is that better now? Please confirm. I'm checking with different network here. Please let me know if you are clear with this now. Is it better? Sakshin, voices. I haven't shared my screen actually. Let me share my screen. If I share the screen, then I think it is getting disconnected. Yeah, I'm logging into my Jenkins service now. Okay. So I'm logging into my Jenkins. See if there is any interruption, okay, just stay on call or immediately try to reconnect, okay? Because I can experience some issues here. So Zoom got disconnected and rejoined now. All right. So, okay, let me log in. So what we're going to do here is we are going to create one CSD pipeline through which we can able to perform application builds and deployments. That is the main objective. But before that, you need to understand how to create a pipeline project. What are the various types of pipeline projects available, right? So in general, the pipeline projects are created using Ruby scripts, right? So here there are two types of pipeline projects. One we call it as types of pipeline projects, or we can simply say like pipelines. Actually, both are similar. So first thing is scripted pipeline. If you are unable to hear me, please let me know right away, okay, immediately, so that I can check. Scripted pipeline. And another thing is declarative pipelines. Right. So we have scripted pipelines and declarative pipelines. So when we say scripted pipelines, listen please. It is based on the typical Groovy scripting. All right. So when Jenkins was introduced, right, in very initial days, we were using scripted pipelines. And by the time, if you want to use Jenkins, you should be expert in Groovy scripting. Even initially, right, if you want to start learning Jenkins, first you need to get trained on Groovy scripts. You should be good in Groovy script, then only you can work with Jenkins. That was the situation initially. But over the period of time, they have enhanced the process. They just simplify the process and introduce a concept called declarative pipelines. So this is very user friendly. All right. And the changes, whatever you want to create, the pipeline script, whatever you're going to create, it can be created using some scripts, can be auto-generated using snippet generator. All right. So using some snippet generators, we can able to generate the scripts. So going forward, if you want to create any pipeline, you'll be creating a declarative pipelines only. So this is just for your information. The scripted pipeline is just for information. We never use scripted pipelines in any of our upcoming projects. Got it? So if you want to work with declarative pipelines, you don't need to be expert in Groovy. If you are sure about what you want to do, you can able to generate the script automatically. It's a very intuitive tool. Easy. So the main objective of this declarative pipeline is to make any user to quickly work with Jenkins. Because there are a lot of competitors, right? Like we have Azure pipelines, GitLab CI, and AWS code pipelines. A lot of things are there. So all those pipeline scripts are declarative in nature. They use YAML scripting. Only Jenkins was based on Java and Groovy, so it is still using Groovy scripting. But most of people are not aware of Groovy, so they can directly use the declarative pipelines to create the scripts. Understood, all of you? All right. So now let's create a project. Go to your dashboard, click on new item. And in this new item, listen carefully, all of you. Enter the name of the project. Like I can simply say like, okay. So enter the name of the project and select the template as pipeline. Earlier, you must be using Freestyle project. Now it is pipeline project and click on OK. Sorry. Right. So now if you compare the configuration details, here we have a general tab to configure the basic descriptions, or if you want to parameterize a project, and we have triggers to automate the builds, and directly we have pipelines. All right. So here we are just going to create a pipeline script. Guys, don't try anything there. I'm telling you again, don't practice anything there. Just listen to what I'm sharing. If you simultaneously practice something, you'll be missing the context. All right. So I repeat, just go to this dashboard, click on new item. And from this new item, give the project name and the template as pipeline. That's enough. All right. It will take you to the configuration page here. In this configuration page, you can able to write a script, pipeline scripts. So if you're not sure about the pipeline script, what you can do here is you can click on this try sample pipelines. Can you see this? Click on try sample pipelines, and here you can able to see the templates here. Correct. So this is the structure of your pipeline. So just try to understand how to write a pipeline script. So any declarative pipeline will looks like this. It starts with a keyword called pipeline. And as I said, we have various stages. So stage one is used to perform some task, right? And the stage name, which correct. And the stage name is hello. And the step name is any task you want to execute in your project. So like this, if you want, you can able to create one more stage here like this. See, this is stage one, and this can be stage two. So like this, we can able to create the pipeline stages. So just try to understand the structure of a pipeline. Any declarative pipeline should start with the pipeline keyword and start with the stages, and you can define the stages one by one. So stage followed by the name of the stage, and each stage can have its own steps. Steps means it is a task that you want to execute. And there is a parameter called agent parameter. This is used to decide where you want to run this job. So when we create any pipeline project, by default, it gets executed in master node. As of now, we have only one master node, so the job will get executed in the master node. Tomorrow, if you create a slave node, you can schedule it to run in the slave node. All right. So now, once you have this script ready, if you want to execute this job, just save this configuration and just go to your project and click on build now. So for this project also, we have a build now option. With that, you can able to build your project. Agent parameters used to identify the node where you want to run your job. It is used to schedule a job to run. So when you say agent as any, it will execute the job in any available agent. Mishra, have you noticed or not the thing whatever I shared here? What is the question? Are you listening or like are you practicing simultaneously? See, I just got a sample here. If you go to your pipeline project, there you can able to see some sample projects available. If you are completely new to Jenkins, go to this option and choose this one. You will get the script here. As per your need, you just customize it. That's all. To customize the script, you need to understand the structure of the script actually. So a stage block is here. Within the stages block, you can have some stage definitions. All right. So you can able to create any number of stages as per your need. Once the job is ready, just save it and go to your project catalog and click on build now. Yes, agent parameter here, it is used to identify the master node. Tomorrow, if I configure the slave node, I can give the slave node name here. Right. See, no need to worry about the script. What we are doing here, that is secondary. Understand the structure. Okay, so it should start with the keyword called pipeline. And agent parameters used to identify the node where you want to run your job. If you want to run it in your master node, just leave it as default. If you want to run it in slave node, you can say slave node 1. Like that, if in which node you want to execute. On that node, the job will be scheduled to run. And we have stages key that is used to identify the set of tasks you want to execute in your project. So very first task is printing this message. That is current stage. Just observe the structure of this stage. I'll show you more examples. Sandeep, first listen to what we are discussing now, then you can go with other topics. Okay, as of now, focus on what we're discussing. I'm not talking about any slave or mass node here as of now, right? Just observe the declarative pipeline project. How to create a pipeline, just stick to this. All right. I'll talk about this configuration, and even yesterday itself I showed you what is the difference in master and slave. Right? I clearly mentioned it. It's in the recording, right? You can use that also. So if you want to create any pipeline project, go to your pipeline project definition and you can start defining the required number of stages. So once you define it, how to run this means just go to your project catalog and click on build now. I just execute build and you can see this build number 1 has been executed now. And here, as part of this build, it's taking to the console of job. And it is also same, okay, as like how you execute your pre-sale project in same manner, you'll be getting the status here. But only difference is you'll be getting some stage view. You can see there is an option called pipeline steps, right? We can able to view each and every step of your project, or you can able to see the stages here. You can see there's a stages view. We click on this, it will take you to the multi-graph, multi-pipeline graph actually. Perfect. So I'll show you the next level. Now this executor which can able to print a message to the terminal as like your what do you call that freestyle project. So here this build number is stages, stage number 1 and stage number 2. So the stage 1 is used to print the message to the terminal. Stage 2 always to print the message. Like able to have a stage view of your job. And because stages, you can able to understand what are all the activities we perform there. Is that voice breaking? Are we good now? Correct. So this is the view. What happened here? Still not clear. Yeah. You are sharing your inputs also in your thing. QA is not for inputs, okay? Just to ask a question. Why you don't understand that point? If you want to say something, just say it in your chat window. If you want to ask something, and ask in your QA. There is a difference, no? So, guys, am I out now? Is it better? Yes. Shall I proceed further? Am I audible to everyone? Please come. Shall I proceed? Why no response? What happened? Hello, guys, I'm audible to everyone. Again, same voice breaking issues, talking, talking. Oh, 1 minute here. 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay, just wait. Hold please, huh? Just a minute. Hmm. Is it better now? Shall I proceed? Is it better now? Please confirm. Please confirm again. Yeah, there was no other option actually. You have to. Okay, because I have three different connections. Okay, if one is dropping, I'm just trying to use another one. Hmm. Okay, thanks for the confirmation. So now what we'll do, we'll just understand the output of your pipeline project. So in a previous session, we talked about the freestyle project. So as part of freestyle project, you got the console output, but the console output will not be in the here for each and every stage you can able to analyze. Okay, what we did in stage one, what is the outcome in stage one, and what is the outcome in stage two. You can able to understand and how much time it took to execute the stage one. Okay. You see, so how we are going to execute your changes, what are all these changes we are performing, it's all reflecting in your stage view. All right. So this you can able to utilize when you access your end-to-end projects. Like if you're creating any CSD pipeline projects for application builds and deployments, in that case, this will be very much helpful. All right. So now I'll show you how to improvise this. Okay. So this is a pipeline we have created, right? So let's say I want to use it for my CSD process. So what is the first stage here? I can tag it as SCM checkout. So here I can able to perform SCM checkout. I'll show you how to create these commands and all, okay? And the second stage, I want to contest for application build. This is to perform application build. And similarly, I can have one more stage, that is to deploy. Deploy to target server. Okay, this is to perform deployments. Easy. So like this, we should able to create your CSD pipeline, enhance the pipeline. Now, if I create this here, okay. So my project is going to have three stages now: SCM checkout, application build, and then deploy to target server. So with these three stages, I should be able to perform the application build. Easy. All right. So can you able to understand these three stages, what you're trying to do here? Is what happened here? Are we good now? So first stage is used to perform SCM checkout. And the second stage to perform build, and third stage to perform the deployment. So don't worry about the task definition. I'll show you how to do that, but try to understand structure as of now. This is a pipeline structure, right? So Yeah. So as part of this pipeline, so now if I execute this apply command and perform the build again, okay, it is expecting me to reload the page. Ganesh, right? Shraddha Ganesh. See, I was just showing you the way we create the pipelines. Okay, a pipeline can be having a number of stages. Each and every stage can able to perform a desired task. I told you. So how to create the pipeline stage? What are all the tasks going to perform? You can simply define it in this manner. This is not going to actually download the code. It's just going to print the message. That's all. Understood? Are you getting your point? Is it clear now? Able to understand this pipeline? All of you? Ganesh. See, it is not going to be used anywhere. I'm just giving you some example. Just structure of the pipeline. That's it. We further enhance this to perform the actual application builds and deployments. Right. So now I just trigger this job and it has executed. So I just perform the build now. So the build is completed now. So now if I go to the output of this job, I should be able to see the console output of that job. And if I see the stage view of this job, it will show me the various stages of your pipeline. See, now the latest build is having 3 stages. One is SCM checkout stage, application build stage, and then the target, deployment to target. So if you want to understand the process of each and every stage, click on that stage name. It will give you the complete status one by one. See, in SCM checkout stage, we just printed this message and it was executed for this much time, right? Like that, each and every stage, you can able to get the detailed status. And along with that, you can able to see this console output also. Like what is when the job was started, by whom it is started. And this job is running in the Jenkins master node. In your master node under this Jenkins library directory, just create a workspace. And very first stage is SCM checkout stage. And this is the output of this job stage. And second stage, it is printing a message. And this is the result of the third stage. Like that, we can able to get the status of all these stages in your console. Correct. So just try to understand how to create or write a pipeline script for now. And if you look into the script here, you can see I use some echo commands and all, right? So this is what the task that you're going to execute, all your scripts. So to create the script only, we have something called snippet generator. I told you, right? We have something called snippet generator to create the script. So just go to the pipeline configuration page. And in this page, there is something called pipeline syntax. Click on this. So on this pipeline syntax option, in this pipeline syntax option, you should able to see a snippet generator. So going forward, it is recommended to use the snippet generator to create a script. Anything for that matter. Like for example, here we have a step. We have a lot of steps available, build steps available here. Like if you want to perform ACM checkout, you can use this git step. It will ask for the repository, enter the repository URL and generate a script. I'll show you with the next step now. You see? So a very simple way to create a pipeline project. That's it. Any question? So as part of this, you should know how to create a simple declarative pipeline script and execute and check the console output of the job. What are the stages we can have and how to code the stage. So here the closing, opening code, closing curly brackets are very much important. Okay, if you miss any of this, it will be showing you some syntax error. So better easy. So just create the script and execute it. That's enough. All right. So if you're clear with this basic structure, then we'll see how to work with the actual application. Remember, I shared one Jenkins, Java application repository, right? Hope you have that link. A Maven project repository shared with you, correct? Right? So you can use that link to perform ACM checkout. And you can use that project to perform the build and deployment. So I'll show you that in detail now. But as I said already, in real-time environment, we never just use master node. We need the slave node to perform the build. Like if you look at this scenario here, so here in this case, guys, hope you remember, right? We talked about this master and slave node. So now we'll see how to work on this architecture. So that is the next topic. Got it? So I'll show you how to configure the Jenkins master and slave nodes, and then we'll integrate the master and slave node, and finally we'll create the pipeline project there. So this is considered as the core of Jenkins. So you should know how to set up the master and slave node architecture. Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed with this? Okay. So in your Linux module, have you worked with remote server access? Using SSH? So in order to access your remote server, you need the host name of the server, you need the username, and then the password. Correct? So to perform the remote server access, you need all these three parameters. Remember? Yes or no? So host name is the private address of the machine. Username is which something you're going to create. And the credentials, it can be anything. Like it can be password-based authentication or key-based authentication or token-based authentication. So here we'll be using the SSH keys. Right? So what you're going to do here is, listen carefully. I already have a Jenkins server. And I just want to connect this with Jenkins slave node. This is Jenkins master. So this is a VM. And now we're going to create one more VM. I want to consider this VM as a build server. It means I want to perform the Java application build. So to perform Java application build, what are the tools we need here? What are tools we need to perform Java application build? Hope you remember, we need Git, JDK, and Maven, correct? Git is to identify the source code repository. Maven is to perform the application build. So we're going to launch one node. All of you listen, please. We are going to launch one node. Again, it is of Ubuntu machine. And in that machine, we're going to install JDK, Maven, and then Git. Once that is installed, right, what we can do here is we are going to create the username and the SSH keys for the user. And you'll be using the private key of the user in the Jenkins master to enable the node configuration. All right, so this is steps on high level. Got it? Yes, that's right. Execution takes place in the each remote server. So listen carefully. So in my yesterday session, I shared one Jenkins configuration process. Now we have something for slave node configuration. So when I say slave node configuration, first we are going to launch a Ubuntu machine. I'm repeating it now, listen please. And once we launch the Ubuntu machine, we are going to install Java in that machine. We are going to install Git, and then we're going to install Maven. And once we install all these things, to enable the SSH connection, we need the what we need? We need the user profile, correct? So we have to create one user. So that user I'm going to create here. Correct. So, okay, you just forget about the Docker now. It's not required for you now. Tomorrow, once I start with Docker module, I'll show you how to set up Docker and all. I mean, if I start with that. As of now, we just create the user and then we'll be creating the SSH key for that user. And once we create SSH key, the key should be protected. So we're just changing the access mode of the key. And also we need to create the authorized key. So all these things you must have done in Linux module. It is just a repetition now. Okay. So this SS keychain command will create a private key and public key. And based upon the public key, we create the authorized keys and change the access mode. Right? That's it. Once this is done, you are ready with your slave node. Next, we are going to log into Jenkins master node and attach that slave node to Jenkins master using node configuration. Easy? Any question on the steps? So let's launch one VM, install the required build tools, and then create the user, create the SSH key for that user, and protect the key. That's enough. Once it is ready, you can integrate your slave node to Jenkins master using your manage Jenkins option there. Easy. So let's get into this page now. I'm going to launch one more VM. I want to tag it as Jenkins slave node 1, and we are going to use Ubuntu as an AMI. Let's choose the previous version of Ubuntu, that is 22.04 version. Okay, so choose 22.04 version. Okay, I just mentioned the document, just strictly follow the same. And instance type can be T2 micro, and choose a key pair which you already have. Any question? Any question on this process? Okay, now simply launch a node. So now that we have launched one slave node and it is up and running. So just take the public IP address of the node and open your SSH agent like MobaXterm and connect to that machine. So once you have this here, as a root user, you can able to execute these commands. Okay, we'll update the package first, and then we'll be installing JDK. Let's install JDK 17. If you're unable to hear me, please let me know right away. Hope you're listening. At least show some indication, okay, so that we can understand people are available. Hope it's better now, right? Okay. Yeah, it's installing it. So now that we have installed OpenJDK version 17.0.15. Once this is done, you can able to install Git. Git should be already available in Ubuntu machine. You can quickly check the version. If it is not present, you can install it. Right. Now you can install Maven. For the installation of Maven, you can simply say apt install Maven. That's it. So now that Maven tool has been installed, and if we say MVN version, so this is a Maven version installed on this machine, and this is the installation path, the home directory of Maven, and it is using Java 17, which we installed earlier. All right. So with this, in my build server, I have installed all the build tools. Tomorrow, if I start with Docker, right, I'll show you how we can perform all these things in a container, Docker container. That will be more, effective compared to VM. Instead of using VM, you can able to use containers also and it can be attached with the Jenkins. That is a real-time activity actually. Now, once we have this in place, we are going to create the user. So to create the user, you can use this user add command. Hope you remember, right? The commands, whatever required for you to create a user. In your Linux model, you must have learned this. User add is a command. We're going to create the user called DevOps of the user. And it is going to enable bash terminal and make the directory called DevOps as a home directory. That's it. Now, log into that user, su-devops admin. Now, as a DevOps admin user, if I say ls-a, by default, don't have any SSH keys. So we need to create now. So use this SSH keygen command and create the key pair in the default home directory of DevOps admin user. Just enter, enter, and enter. Easy. Is it clear now? Can you able to understand how to create this? All of you. Fine. So now if you say ls-a, you should be able to see the .sh folder. Go to that folder, and here you can see there are two keys available. That is a public key and private key. So this is what I mentioned in the document also. From this directory, you can able to see these two components. Now, based on the public key, you create authorized keys. Right. Copy the content of this public key and create one authorized key. So now this authorized key is ready. It is used to authorize the user, but currently it is being used by all the users. Anyone who accesses the machine can able to see the content of the authorized key, which is not recommended. So for that, we have to change the chmod. So here, the chmod command is used to change the access mode of the particular directory. See, now these files can be accessible only by the owner who can read and write. The DevOps admin can able to read and write. Other group users or any anonymous user cannot read the content. Easy. So this is how we protect the SS keys. And once this is done, we are ready with the server configuration. Once your build server is ready, once your build server is ready, what you can do, just go to your Jenkins master node. Guys, this is a very important step. Please pay attention. So far, whatever we did, it's all part of a Linux module. With the Linux knowledge, you can simply install the tool, create the user, and enable the key pair for authentication. Now, go to a manage Jenkins page. And here you have something called nodes configuration. Click on the nodes. Right. And whenever you want to connect your external remote server as a node to your Jenkins, you have to do the node configuration here. So here already we have a built-in node. This is nothing but your master node where we are running the jobs so far. And if you want to create a new node, from this page, there is an option called new node option, right? Can you see this? Can you see this option, new node option? Hope you can understand, right? Hope you're listening, right? All of you. So till this, is everyone clear? Everything clear to everyone? Yeah. Till this step. Till this step, are you guys comfortable? Or any issues for anyone? Any issues, whatever it is, let me know. Guys, I am asking you again, till this server configuration, are you guys comfortable or not? I'm not getting a response from everyone. What is the problem? See, in Jenkins slave node, you don't need to install Jenkins again. Jenkins should be installed only in your master node. That slave node is just for build. So only the build tools are required. That's enough. And to enable the secure SSH connection to your remote server, we need to create the user. And any user we create in Linux machine, that user should have the credential. If you want, you can create a password also. Jenkins supports a password authentication, but it is not secured. That is the reason we create the key pair. So this SSH keygen command, it is not something new to you people. You must have done it in your Linux module itself. If you have any question, just go revise the Linux module. Here we have Jenkins, SSH keygen command to generate the key pair, which provides you a private key and public key, which is used for authenticating the remote service. Easy? Now, once your server is ready, go to your Jenkins master node. And here in this dashboard, click on Manage Jenkins. In this Manage Jenkins page, there's something called Nodes Configuration, right? Just click on this option. It will take you to this page. You are not giving time to do how we can understand. Here, what you want to do now? I'm asking you, you are able to understand or not, right? You are understanding, no? What are the demo I'm showing you? Can you able to understand or not? Anonymous people, anonymous attendee. I can't give you time for practice during the session, okay? If you want to practice, you should do it only during the uh, uh, offline, not during the session. See, this is a command. SSH keygen is a command. And what type of key we are going to create? The type is decided by the -d parameter. And ECDSA is the type of the key. It can be RSA or ECDSA. It's an encryption protocol. Correct. Is a encryption protocol. I'm going to use ECDSA encryption protocol to create this as keygen, and the size of the key is 521 bytes. For the latest version of Ubuntu, it supports ECDSA. Right. So for high releases, we need to install build. No, that's what I told you, right? I hope you remember the architecture. In my Jenkins architecture, I gave you 3 different scenarios. Remember, in which situations will be going for slave nodes, right? So if you have more number of applications, you can have one more slave node here. That's not an issue. You can create any number of nodes and attach to it. So slave node is considered as a remote server now, which can be configured as a node to Jenkins, agent to Jenkins. Right. Guys, is everyone able to understand till this level? Now go to your manage Jenkins, click on the nodes, and in this page, listen carefully, click on new node. There is an option to create a new node. Click on this. This is very crucial. Please pay attention, all of you. So it is loading now. So on this page, you can ask the name of the node. Like I can say like Jenkins. It can be Jenkins slave node 1. Any name just for our reference. And enable this checkbox. We are going to create a permanent agent. Just enable it and click on create. Right. Now, it has taken to the configuration page where you can able to give a detailed configuration of that node. So here we have the name of the field and description. Just say like this node is to build Java Maven application. That's it. All right. Just a small tag you can assign. And uh, if you want to perform more number of builds in parallel, you can use the build executor. In our master node itself, I told you, build executors are used to execute jobs. You can hear me now? Breaking or what? It's a problem. Can break time. It further. So okay, just hold on. Okay, let it come back. I'll start again. Don't worry. Till this, we have completed the Maven server configuration. The node configuration I haven't started. I'll show you once we are stable. Is it better now? Once it is better, let me know. I'll continue. If you can hear me well, confirm that. I'll proceed. Is it better? Shall I proceed? Okay. So here, I just started with the node creation. Okay, so just enter the name of the node, give a short description about the node. So this description can be anything relevant to the particular node. If you want to perform the .NET build or Java build or Python, just give a name just for a reference and the description. The number of executors is used to enable the parallel builds. Consider I have a slave node. In that slave node, how many builds you need? Okay, how many builds you want to perform? That is decided by the number of executors. And as I told you already, in your slave node only your actual build is going to happen, correct? What is the purpose of slave node I mentioned here in a previous session? So this Jenkins master node is used to create the project, but the slave node is something which is used to perform the actual build. So to perform the actual build, we need the source code repository, correct? Hello, guys, can you hear me? So how can you get the source code repository to that slave node? How can you get the source code repository to the slave node? By using that SCM checkout. Remember, I said SCM checkout is used to perform the clone action, right? Used to clone the repository to the local machine. So once you have that in place, you need to decide where you want to download the code. That is what your remote directory parameter. So this remote root directory means I want to create the source code or download the source code in my DevOps admin's home directory. So this is the home directory of DevOps admin user. I want to use this directory to create the workspace. If you remember in our previous jobs and all, the workspace was created in the Jenkins home directory, right? Under the home directory of Jenkins, the workspace gets created by default, correct? Are you listening? When I execute my job in Jenkins master, by default, it creates a workspace in the home directory of Jenkins, correct? Yes, no? Yes, yes or no? Are you able to understand what my question? When we execute our project in the master node, the workspace folder gets created in the home directory of Jenkins master node, correct? Similarly, when you try to perform the build in your slave node, in which path the workspace should get created? That is what your remote directory. I want to create my workspace in the home directory of DevOps admin user. Simple. All right. Still any problem, or should I cancel the job, or sorry, cancel the CAS session or continue session? Please confirm. Or you want to have break, please go have break and come back. Please confirm here. Any I'm not getting a response from everyone. Okay. Only two or three of them are responding. It's good, right? Shall I proceed? Hey, don't paste your messages in a QA tab. It is not meant for it that. Sure. Okay, let me complete this and I'll leave you here. Okay. I'll leave you for break. I mean, not, I'm going to wind up the session. I'm just telling you, after completing this few configurations, you can go for a break. So now we are just given the root directory. It's very simple. I want to perform the build in my slave node. And to perform build, I need a source code repository. That workspace should be created in this home directory. And just assign the name or label for this node. It is just a unique identification for your node actually. So this is a parameter that we use in our pipeline actually in the agent parameter. Okay. Now, the next important thing is how I'm going to launch the slave node. What is a launch method means? We are going to launch it via SSH. So if you want to launch it via SSH, we need the host name of the slave node. So just go to the AWS console, take the private IP address of the slave node and have it here. To launch any node using SSH, we need the host name Easy? Is that fine now? Okay, I'll give you a minute break, just 1 minute break. Let me know if I can start or not. I'll explain from this beginning, don't worry. Okay, I'm just filling all the required parameters. Okay, and then I'll explain everything in detail, don't worry. So listen carefully, just listen, okay? Don't try anything, just listen. So now, as I said, to launch a node, we need the host name of the node and we need to identify the credentials, right? So how to create the credentials in the Jenkins Credential Manager? That is what we're going to discuss now. So let me know if you are facing any trouble. Shall I proceed or you still have a voice problem now? Can I proceed? Okay. So in this page, there is something called credential add option, right? Just click on this add button and choose Jenkins. It will take you to the Jenkins Credential Manager. Okay. In this Credential Manager, you can able to choose the credential type as a username with private key. Click on add, right? So remember, we talked about the manage Jenkins credential management process. Do you remember? So whenever you want to create the credential, just go to this page and click on the credentials. So I'm going to show you how to create the credentials to access your remote server. Okay. So we are on the Jenkins Credential Manager. I repeat, not only for slave node, tomorrow if you want to work with Docker module or Kubernetes or Ansible, Terraform, whatever the remote server you want to integrate with Jenkins, from your dashboard, go to Manage Jenkins. And in Manage Jenkins, you have something called credentials. Click on the credentials. It will take you to the Jenkins Credential Manager page. On this page, click on this global and add credentials. Okay, we are going to add a credential in this credential manager, a new credential we're going to create now. So now we are on this new credential creation page. So what type of credential we're going to create means we're going to create a credential of type SSH username with private key. SSH username with private key. And enter the ID. ID is just for our reference. Okay, I can simply say like slave node 1 credential. And I can give the same description, that doesn't matter. ID and description is just for our reference. And the username is the actual username we're going to use. So this is a username which I'm going to use to access my remote server, right? And for this username, I have the key pair. Let me connect again. So we have root user, su to DevOps admin user, cd2.ssh folder. And here you can able to see the private key. Cat that private key. Read the content of the private key. Hope you're getting a point. What I'm going to do here, I just log into my slave node, and under the DevOps and users profile, I can see there is a private key created. I'm going to use this private key in this node configuration. So after giving the name, username, there is an option called private key. Enter directly. Click on this and click on add button and paste that key directly here. That's it. So once this is done, your credential is ready. The credential type is SS username with private key, and your ID and description for your reference, username with the key. Any question on this page, just credential manager or let me know. On this particular page, do you have any question? See, I haven't created any node now. Okay, we haven't created any node as of now. We're just in the progress. Okay, listen carefully. I'm trying to create the new credential here. Any question on this node, new creation credential page? Yeah, only the key you have to copy. Just to the private key. Copy the private key of that user. Okay. Now, if you're clear with this, just create this one. So one new key has been created. Yeah, it's created. The key is created actually. This is slave mode one credential we have created here. So should I repeat the node creation process now? Or should I continue with from where I left? The node integration process. It's very simple. Go to your manage Jenkins, click on nodes. And on that nodes page, on that particular nodes page, you should be able to create a new node configuration. So here by default, we have just a build node. Okay, we haven't saved the thing. So I'll create one new node for you now because you're saying voice is breaking, right? Let me continue again. Start from scratch. So I clicked on new node. It'll ask for the name of the node that you want to create. So enter the node name, like mark it as a permanent agent. Any doubt on this page? Hope you can make it right. Enter the node name and mark it as a permanent agent. Click on create. So now it will take you to the nodes configuration page. It's loading now, right? So here by default, the name is available because we just entered it as a permanent agent, and you can give a short description. It's a Java Maven build. So something like this for our reference. And you can choose a number of executors as 1 or 2 as per your need. And the remote root directory, you can see This is the home directory of DevOps and user. I want to use this as a root directory. Why? Because whenever I perform the build or trigger the build, it will create the workspace. I want to create the workspace in this home directory. That's it. Now, how to identify the slave node in your pipeline means by using a label. Just enter the name of a label, something like this, slave node 1. This label should be unique. Okay, this is what we are going to enter in the agent parameter of a pipeline. And how we are going to launch this node? By SSH. And here you need to identify the slave node's host name. Go to your AWS console, locate your slave node, take the private IP address of the slave node, copy, and then where is it? And update it here. Then it will ask for the credential. Okay, so here if you use the credential, a drop down button, here you can see the drop down. If you use the drop down, you can see the credential that we created in the credential manager. Remember, we have created the credential, right? With the DevOps admin's username and the private key. Remember? Guys, are you following? Hope you all available, right? I'm audible, no? So do you remember the process of creating the credentials? So this credential, I'm going to assign to this node using this drop down. And once this is done, under host key verification strategy, use the dropdown and choose the third option, manually trusted key verification strategy, and enable this checkbox. So what is the need for this option means? From your Jenkins master, you're going to connect to the slave node. Okay, so the credentials, whatever you provided, whether it is from the trusted source or not, that you have to verify once. So when you establish a connection for the very first time, it will ask for the manual verification. Once you say yes, it will consider that slave node as a known machine to Jenkins. That's it. Easy. That's all. So these are all the parameters required to set up your slave node. So from your manage Jenkins, choose a node, new node, give the node name, make it as a permanent agent, and it will ask for the parameters, enter the description, number of executors, remote root directory, your slave node, one as a label, and a launch agent via SSH. You need to choose from here. Enter the private IP address of your host machine, that is a slave node. And under the credential, you should be able to choose a credential that you create in the credential manager. Once this is done, choose the third option, that is manually trusted key verification strategy, and enable this checkbox to manually verify your initial connection. Correct. So number of executors I told you, right, is used to perform the parallel builds. If you want to execute more than one build, right, you can able to use this option. Correct. That we have seen in your Jenkins mass node itself, right? I told you. Same way, using slave node, you can able to execute multiple builds. Any question now? At least you can able to hear me well, right, by this time? Are you guys good with this now? So with these parameters, if you save this configuration, one new node will be available for you. Okay, one new node is getting generated now. Yes, so now this node, slave node 1 is created. You have to click on the slave node 1 because it is just created, it is not yet launched. For the very first time, you have to do or access your node by verifying that host machine. because we have chosen the known host key verification strategy, right? So here, this is the slave node we have configured. And for the very first time, if you want to launch, it is not yet launched, okay? It is not yet launched. We have to launch now, correct? So there is an option called Trust SSH host key. Click on this option. It is being launched. It is not yet completely launched, okay? So for the very first time, if you want to access it, click on that trusted host verification, and it will ask for the confirmation. Do you want to trust the SS key? So this is what the manual verification for the initial connection. So this trust SSH host key option will be available only for one time, for the very first time. Correct. So just click on yes. It means we are manually verifying that the node whatever we attached, it is the known host. So now that you can see, this node is ready. Okay, we have the node available. It is up and running now. So like this, we can able to add any number of nodes to your Jenkins master. So to add any number of nodes, first thing, we have to install the required build tools in a node, create the user profile with proper SS keys and authentication, and then log into Jenkins console, go to manage Jenkins, and you can attach the slave node to Jenkins master. So to attach that node to Jenkins master, we have to perform all those activities. So now you can see my slave node is up and running. Easy. Any question on this slave node configuration? If you have any question, please let me know. Guys, please confirm. Are we good with this? Yes, no, yes, no. Everyone able to understand, right? How we have attached our slave node? Yes. So now you can have a quick 10 minutes break and come back. I will show you how we can use a slave node in our Jenkins project. That is in our pipeline project. Okay. Shall we? As of now, we have just configured the slave node, but actually the slave node is used to perform the build. It is going to execute your application build tool and create the artifacts. Easy. Just recollect my previous day session. Here, we have used one important thing called environments. We have dev environment and build environment. So this build environment is something you can consider as a slave node. We have just prepared this build environment now by installing all the required build tools and connect it to our Jenkins master. So once you have this build environment ready, we can able to perform the actual build on this machine. I'll show you now. That is what next topic I'll show you. Easy. Okay, so we can have 10 minutes break now. Please go ahead. I'm here. Okay, people, if you're facing any issue in understanding, let me know. I can explain you again. Jyotirmay, are you creating it now? Want to share your screen? Are you creating now? Yeah, don't do that, okay? So if you have your key pair ready, you can copy this key pair, I mean the private key, and in this node configuration, I mean, as part of node configuration, you need to create the credential, right? So in the credential manager, you have to create the SSH user with key pair credential type, and there you need to enter the private key. See, already we are facing network issues, right? On top of it, if you're practicing it, right, I don't know, it is very difficult for you to understand. Hmm? So here you need to paste it private key. The username should be your DevOps admin user, which you have created in slave node. That is what you should give. Okay, so shall we? Guys, shall I continue now? Hmm. Okay. So with this, you should know how to prepare this build environment. The build environment is just an environment to perform the application build, which is pre-configured with all the required build tools and the integration with Jenkins master, right? So now our Jenkins slave node is ready, and we are going to execute the same pipeline in the slave node. right? But thing is that we are going to give some actual meaning to each and every stage. So where hope you remember, right? What is the source code repository I shared with you people, if you remember? I think it is this is the one, right? So I have shared the Java web project. Okay, so this is what you're going to use. So as part of SEM checkout stage, I want to perform the application, no, clone actually. So developers created the source code and the source code is available in the source code repository. Once the code is available, we are going to download this code into the slave node. Just go to this project repository and copy this repository URL. Just copy this URL. And in your SEM checkout stage, you can say git followed by the URL. That's it. So using this Jenkins Git plugin, I am going to download the source code from this repository. This is what the meaning of this command. But from where, how I get to know about this means, it's very simple. Go to the snippet generator of that project. I told you, right? In any pipeline project, you have a pipeline syntax link. If you go to that link, it will take you to the snippet generator. So here we can see some sample steps. If you use the drop down, you can find something called Git. So the URL, whatever you want to create, just paste it here. And from which branch you want to pick up the source code. Okay. Whether you want to pick it up from your, what is it called? Master branch or any other branch. As of now, I just have master branch in my repository. So I can simply say master branch as a default. But I think it's loading, just hold on. So choose this git and enter that URL. Once you have that URL, you can specify the branch name as master and it doesn't require any credentials. So leave it as blank and generate this. So I got a script now. So this is what I've entered in my pipeline. Easy. If you want to pick your code from any other branch, enter the branch name. Like I want to pick the code from feature branch. Enter the branch name and generate. So you got a git command with the branch name here. If you're not mentioning the branch name, it means by default, it picks from the default branch. So the default branch name is master. Easy. So this is to perform your SEM checkout. Now, where it will download the source code, in which path it will download the source code actually? Do you remember in which path we are trying to download the source code or to create a workspace? Guys, are you listening? Hope you remember, right? I consider this as a remote root directory of the slave node. Can you all able to hear me? Yeah. So in this particular remote root directory, I want, as of now, this folder is empty. There is no workspace created, but my requirement is I want to clone this repository in the slave nodes DevOps home directory. Now, once the source code is available in that path, I want to perform the Maven build. So to perform Maven build, what we need? We need Maven Gold. Remember? Hope you remember it in my previous module. We discussed about the Maven goals, right? So Maven goal, like clean and package. My intention is I want to perform the code compilation, perform the automated testing and create the package. So I can simply enter the Maven goal using the snippet generator. So it should be executed as a shell script. So what you can do in this step itself, you can choose something called SH. You see there is a sh shell script. Enter the command here directly and generate it. So now I got a script directly here. So as a user, you don't need to manually create any script. Go to snippet generator, choose a desired step or task you want to perform, enter the exact command and generate it. Once you have the script ready, have it in your project pipeline. Simple. So if you want, I'll simply execute these two stages. I'll come back to this deployment stage sometime later. But as of now, let's understand these two processes. Okay. But how this will automatically gets built into the slave node? For that only we use agent parameter. Okay, what is the purpose of agent parameter? It is used to identify the node where you want to build your project, or it is used to identify the slave node, right? So here instead of any, we use label. So what is the label we use in our slave node? Do you remember? Do you remember what is the label of the slave node? It is slave one. So agent label slave one. I want to run this job in the slave node one. So with these parameters, if I create the project, so any question on these two stages? Let's go step by step. First, we'll see how to perform application build, and then we'll talk about the deployment. Any question on these two stages now? So what the clean package is going to do? It will identify the source code. Maven will first go to the pom.xml file, understand the properties of the pom.xml file, identify the var file name, type. If you can see the source code repository here, we have pom.xml file. I showed you this in a previous module itself. So here, this is the property of that application artifact you will create. This is the name of the artifacts. This is the type of the artifacts. And to build this artifacts, it requires all these dependencies. We never installed Selenium, JUnit, Chococo and all in this node, right? Did we install all these tools in a slave node? Did we install? No, we have installed only JDK Maven, right? So Maven will get into this POM.xml file and understand all the requirements, and it will automatically install these dependencies in the slave node and perform the build. Okay. So if you say agent as any, which agent is available by the time on that agent, the build will happen. Sometimes if the agent is busy, it will search for the next available agent. We're just giving the option to Jenkins master. Jenkins master will decide where to run the job, depends upon the availability of the slave node. Are you okay with this? Shall I execute this pipeline now? If there is any question on this pipeline creation, please let me know. So if you're clear with this, just go and trigger the build. So the build is scheduled now. So while it is under execution, you can go to the console output of the job. See, this is the control output. So if you can go through the control output here, this job is started by this user and it is running in slave node 1. Have you observed it? Your previous pipeline execution was on Jenkins master node, but the latest is running in slave node 1. And it is creating a workspace in the home directory of the DevOps admin user. And the very first stage, it is performing ACM checkout. This is echo command we are given to print this message, and it is cloning the entire repository to that workspace folder. See, on the same project name, it is creating that workspace directory. And then the application build stage, the second stage. So here in application build stage, we given a command, maven clean package command. It is identify latest changes from the source code repository from this master branch and going through the POM XML file. So in that POM XML file, what are all the dependencies we have mentioned? It is trying to download all the dependencies and the plugins along with the associated components. So this is just a one-time activity. For the very first time, it will download and it will perform the build. And as part of the build, we have enabled the automated unit testing also, right? Using JUnit testing tool. So it should perform the unit testing as well. And upon performing unit testing, it is performing the build. See, it's a Spring Boot web application. It is performing the unit testing now, and the test results also, it looks good. So as part of the source code repository, there is only one test case. So go to the source code of the project, and this is a test folder where they have one JUnit test case written. So this got successfully executed. That's what it is saying here, right? And then as part of that execution, it is finally creating the artifacts. So the under workspace folder, it has created target folder and created a demo 1.0 snapshot version is created. So if you go to that slave node, here, if you can able to see the workspace folder created. Go to the workspace folder, you can see the project folder. And here you have the entire source code gets cloned. And as part of the build, it is created target folder. I told you, right, as part of Maven, the artifacts will be created in the target folder. And if you navigate to the target folder, you should be able to see that WAR file is available. Easy. Any question here? Guys, do you have any question on this? Are you guys able to understand the process of creating application build? So first you have to set up the slave node and add it to the Jenkins master. Write this pipeline. It's very simple. Developer, they can simply commit the code in the repository and this pipeline will identify source code perform build. Once a build is completed, next we'll see how to deploy it to the target server, that is your Tomcat server. This is the next important topic. What is the confusion there? Please let me know, like anything, whatever it is. Please tell me what is the confusion there. It's very simple. Maybe for the very first time, that too after a huge network issues. See, that is how it happens. No, it is not like we are talking many things. How many topics I covered today? I just covered the main, small simple pipeline demo and then one pipeline with application build and deployment. Application build, that's so. I haven't started with the deployment also, right? Maybe for the very first time, it looks heavy, but once you start practice, right, it's very simple. I have clearly documented, okay, even if there is a network issue also, See, I just documented all these things in your reference for your reference, right? So if you follow this document properly, definitely you can able to practice easily. You can take your time, no problem. Today and tomorrow you can practice and make it. That's not an issue. All right. So shall we move on to the next topic now? That is about deployment. Because as part of the CI/CD pipeline workflow, we have identified the source code by using SM checkout, and we have performed all these three activities now. We have performed the application build, unit testing is complete, artifacts also created. Right now, this artifact has to be promoted to the target environment, the test environment. It can be a QA environment, UAT, or even production. So it should be created now. So how to create this? So usually in the current architecture, we have Jenkins master and slave. Next topic, we are going to set up the Tomcat server. Right. So here now what we're going to do means we are going to change the architecture. We are going to add one new server here. So while choosing this architecture, you need to be very clear. So what is the purpose of this VM? What are things we installed here? We install Git, JDK, and then Jenkins. Similarly, in the slave node, we have installed Git, JDK, and Maven, and Docker. Okay, Docker is okay. You can have it for now. Next, another server you're going to create. This is also after all a VM. And in this VM, we are going to install JDK and then Tomcat. So what is Tomcat server? Tomcat is a web application server. Okay, it is used to execute the Java-based web applications. Right. Say for example, here we have created the war file. How this war file will get executed? To execute that war file, war means web archive file. To execute this war file, we use a web application server like Tomcat or Apache, HTTPD, Nginx. Like this, a lot of web application servers available. For Java-based application, we very frequently use Tomcat. All right. I think now the network is stable, right? Any issues you're facing now? Okay. Okay. I hope it will be smooth for next few more minutes. We'll proceed. That's what if whole world is sleeping, started to sleep, now the network is good. So what we'll do now, we'll just create this Tomcat server. Okay. So I'm going to launch one VM, and in that VM, we are going to install these tools. And this Tomcat server is an external server or a remote server to Jenkins master. So what we're going to do here is we are going to create one Tomcat server, install the required tools, create the user, and we are going to enable the connection between the Tomcat server and Jenkins master node. As like how we have created the users in slave node, here also we're going to create the user. And now we are going to integrate the Jenkins master node and the slave node, sorry, Tomcat server using SSH. And once SSH establishment is done, we are going to use the publish SSH plugin to copy the artifacts from Jenkins slave node to into Tomcat server. Right. Easy. Any question? So first I'll show you how to create this Tomcat server and install required tools and create the user. And then I'll show you how to use publish host plugin to integrate the Tomcat server with Jenkins master. Like this, tomorrow, if you want to deploy to any other target server, we can use the same publish host plugin to do that. So I'll show you how to integrate your Kubernetes cluster, your Docker, deployment environment, your Docker Swarm, Docker Compose, a lot of things are there. I'll show you, especially while working Docker Swarm and all, we can able to integrate with your Jenkins master. Now, to do this, you can able to go through this document. So I have a separate workflow diagram to configure the workflow for your Tomcat application server configuration of Ubuntu machine. So we can launch a Ubuntu machine and we can install Tomcat there. So this is the official page from where you can able to identify the Tomcat versions. And these are the steps involved. Okay, so you can launch a node, and as we all know, it is a web application server and it by default runs in port 8080. So once you launch the node, you have to enable the port 8080 actually. Okay, so let me go to this and launch a node now. Yeah, let me give a tag like SA. Okay. And then choose Ubuntu 22.0 for version. Right. And then instance type can be T2 micro and select the key pair. That's it. That's it. I'm just choosing the AMI instance type, key pair, and one node I want to launch in. Click on launch. Now that we have one node available, go to the instance and you can see one Tomcat server should be up and running for us. Right. Yes, it's ready. So now, yes, Tomcat also runs in port 8080, but it will be running in a separate server, right? We are not going to install Tomcat in Jenkins server. We have a separate VM. In this VM, we can install Tomcat. First, you enable the port number. So just once a node is available, go to the security group of that node. Edit inbound rule and add that rule. Set up the CAD blocks and save it. So now that we have the node ready, just copy the public IP address and connect to that node. Okay. So we're going to update all the default packages and then we'll install JDK. JDK is a prerequisite for Tomcat, okay, because it is probably meant for Java-based application. First, you have to install JDK, and then for the installation of Tomcat, first you have to copy the Tomcat binary. That's, the zip file. It is a package zip file. You have to download using wget command. So I hope you must have already used wget command in Linux module. It is a command that is used to download any files using HTTP or HTTPS. So you can download this file or that entire file into this directory, OP directory, and using tar command, you can extract that file. And upon extraction, you can simply go to the default directory of that Tomcat and start that service. All right. So first let's install JDK. I think you must have done it in your Linux model, right? Have you created this earlier as part of assignments and other stuff? I hope there is an assignment, no, to set up a Tomcat server in Linux module. Yes, no? Then it must be easy for you. You can use any of the methods, okay? That doesn't matter. Either you can download a package, extract and use it, or you can directly install it. So now that I have already installed JDK, and next I'm going to download the package. For that, I'm going to use this directory, OPT directory. And in this OPT directory only, I want to download the package. As of now, there's no files. So use this duplicate command to download this tar file, zip file. Right. So it is getting downloaded. Okay. So I got this file ready. Why OPT means? OPT is a system directory, right? Hope you remember in your Linux module, you must have understand the Linux file management file system. So if you go to the home directory, root directory, right? We have a lot of system directories available. Out of that, OPT is one of the directories, and we have something called ETC directory, right? This ETC. So this ETC is something used by your Linux to manage all its packages and services and other important tools and files. And this OPT is something we can use to maintain all the external software that we download. As a best practice, we follow this approach, or you can create your own software folders and maintain it. It's up to you. Right. In ETC, it is having all the system components. If you go to the ETC directory, you can see, right? All the Linux system components are installed, available here. It is something like in your Windows machine, you have C drive program files. Remember, in your Windows machine, you have a program files folder, right? In C drive. What it contains? It contains all the software packages, the tools, services that you install in Windows machine. Similarly, for Linux, this is a default directory where you can able to find all the system related components, services, users, profile, everything. All right. So I am going to use OPT. So here we have this file downloaded. Let's extract this file. For the extraction, we use a tar command. Hope you must have used the command Linux module. It is something like we are unzipping this file. So once it is done, you can see there is a folder created. Within this folder, only your Tomcat components are available now. I don't want to keep this complete folder name. So let me reduce this folder, change this folder name to Tomcat alone, so that it will be easy for us to maintain it in real-time environment. Okay, for easy maintainability, I just renamed it. That's all. Using mv command. Hope you must have used the mv command in Linux module, right? mv command. This will just rename it to Tomcat. Now, if you go to the Tomcat folder, sorry. there is a bin directory. So under this OPT Tomcat bin folder, there is something called startup.sh. So just simply run the shell script to start the Tomcat service. Right. So the Tomcat service can be started by using the startup.sh. Similarly, if you want to stop, you can use shutdown.sh. All these scripts are available as part of this installation package. Okay, now that the Tomcat server is up and running in my remote server, and it is running in port 8088, I told you, right? Just copy this public IP address of the server and use 88. See, my Tomcat web application is accessible through web browser. Hope this is what you did in your Linux module, correct? All right. So it means this is not something new for you people. You must have already done it. Or if you already have a Tomcat server also, you can use the same. Now, once we have the server ready, what we can do means we are going to create the user. So I have launched one node, enabled the port number, installed and updated the server, and I'm able to access the server through web browser now. Once this is done, the next step, we are going to create the user. See, I don't have any problem in continuing session after 10:30, okay, because there were some network issues. So if you want, you can have another 5 to 9 minutes extra also. I don't want to waste your time. Got it? So let's complete something today. Fine. So now we have used this command already as part of your slave node configuration. So I can use this user add command to create the user, and I can create the key pair, and I can able to create the authorized key and provide the key. So till this we have covered as part of slave node. You can repeat the same process in Tomcat server. Copy this and run it. So this is my node. Let me execute this command. Sudo DevOps admin user, and I can create the key pair. Once the key pair is ready, I can navigate to that folder. And here I can see public and private key. I can copy the content of public key and create one authorized keys file. And I can able to protect that key files by using chmod command. Easy. Right, I told you, right? Why we are executing means, see, we have added one new server in the architecture, the Tomcat server. In this Tomcat server, I have installed all the required components. Now I want to attach this Tomcat server Jenkins master. So using SSH, if you want to enable the communication between server, you need the host name, username, and the credential, correct? Credential, I'm going to use a key pair, SS key pair. That's what I'm doing this now. Are you able to understand now? So as part of, see, Jenkins master node is considered as a, controller machine. Through this Jenkins master only, we can able to perform the build, we can able to perform the deployments. So now this Jenkins master acts as an interface between your slave node and the VM. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to connect this Tomcat server with Jenkins master, and already the slave node is connected with Jenkins master. Now, if I use this publish Oasis plugin, what this plugin will do, it will identify the artifacts that is created in the slave node. As part of the build, we create the artifacts here, right? Remember, in this slave node under DevOps admin home directory, we have created the artifact, right? Yes, no. So that artifacts has to be copied to the Tomcat server. That is what the deployment, right? What is the deployment? From your build environment, we are going to promote something to your test environment. So the slave node is my build environment. From this build environment, I want to copy the artifacts to the Tomcat server. To do this, I use Jenkins master. Jenkins master acts as an interface between your slave node 1 and the Tomcat server. Correct. That is what we're going to create now. Easy. Hope you all able to understand. Yes, that's right. Both node, slave node and VM Tomcat server should be connected to the master node. Is it clear, Shaurya? Srikant Murthy. So now in this Tomcat server, we have created the user. So my intention is I have a Jenkins master node and I have a Tomcat server node. My application build is present in the Jenkins slave node, right? This war file. So using Jenkins, I want to copy that war file into the Tomcat server. So how the Jenkins master and Tomcat will get communicated? Using this DevOps admin user. Correct. Using the DevOps admin user, we are going to copy it. So first of all, you need to understand what does the deployment means. What is the deployment basically here? When we say deployment, what is the deployment actually? What is deployment? Guys, see, deployment means it is just a process of copying some artifacts from the source server to the target server. That's it. Deployment is just a process of copying the artifacts from one server to another server. Simple. Are you able to understand? Yes or no? Now, I'll just talk about this small thing and then I leave you. Okay, I don't want to hold you for a long time. Just understand what is deployment. And then tomorrow, I will show you how we can integrate this Tomcat server and Jenkins and perform the actual deployment. Okay. So this deployment is just a process of copying the artifacts to the target server. The nodes will be available in your repository. Don't worry about it, okay? So in order to perform deployment, right, first we need to understand the source server and then the target server. So in our case, what is the source server? What is the name of the server? What is the name of the source server? I mean, where you have the artifacts now. The artifacts are in the slave node. So slave node is the source server where we have the artifacts. And what is the target server now? Where you want to copy that artifacts? In the Tomcat server. Great. So this Tomcat server is your target server. And it is not just about identifying the server. In your source server, you have to identify the source file path. And here you need to identify the target path. So in your source server where the artifacts are present, if you remember, it is present in this directory, correct? Under the workspace folder, we have a target, and under the target folder, we have the artifacts. So I can simply say like under my target folder, I have the war file, correct? Yes or no? In my workspace, it has created a target folder, and in the target folder, we have the war file. And this war file should be copied to your target server. So that is your Tomcat server. So usually if you want to maintain any artifacts in Tomcat server, cd to the directory opt/tomcat. Okay. Here you have something called web apps folder. If you go to the web apps folder as a DevOps and user, see what is going to happen. It is saying permission denied. This is the directory where I want to paste my artifacts. So let me exit from this user, and as a root user, I can navigate to the folder now. So as part of Tomcat server, this is the default directory. You have to keep your artifacts under the web apps folder. Apart from this folder, if you choose any other folder to maintain the artifacts, Tomcat cannot recognize that file. So just go to this path, and this is your target folder. So this are all very, very important, okay? So what you'll be getting here means upon deployment, that war file should be copied here. Upon deployment, that war file should be copied to this path. That is what the expectation. Easy. Now, the important challenge whatever we faced here is, I want to perform all these things as a DevOps admin user. As a DevOps admin user only, I want to connect to this Tomcat server and do this deployment. But this DevOps admin user is not having access to this directory. Can you see this? Because this directory is completely owned by the root user. So what we can do here is, we can use a command to change the ownership. So the chown command, chown-r command, that is used to change the ownership of this Tomcat directory. Now, if you say ll command, the owner has been modified to DevOps. I hope you already worked with chmod command, right, in your Linux module. So I just given a complete access to DevOps and user. Now, if I log into DevOps and user, and if I say cd/opt tomcat, and what else, web apps folder, I'm able to access it. That is the reason I have added this command in your document. Easy. So this is how we completely prepare our Tomcat server. Once the server is ready, then you can log into your Jenkins, use a publish OS plugin to copy the artifacts. Easy? Yes, using SCP also you can do. It is also possible. In your Linux model, you must have done through SCP, but here through Jenkins, we use publish OS plugin. And have you installed this publish OS plugin in your Jenkins master node? As part of yesterday session, have you installed publish OS plugin? Yes, no? If not, you can try to install, okay? You know how to install the plugins right in Jenkins? You guys know how to install now? Go to plugins manager, go to available plugins tab, search for publish OS plugin and install it. Install with restart option, okay? Because this plugin requires restart. So install with restart option. It should be fine. Great. So I'll be updating all these things in your class notes today. And I really appreciate all your patience, because initial few minutes or few 1 hour, initial 1 hour, right? You are struggling to handle this because of network issues. So I think now it's better, right? So I'll just update this in your Jenkins installation process. So this I'll do it tomorrow. You can do it tomorrow, but at least now you try to install this plugin in your Jenkins master and keep it ready, right? So any question on this document? Are you guys able to understand what is happening here? Yes, no. Hope it's clear to all, right? So now, as part of this class notes, I'm updating today's session details. Yeah. So we have two more things. This will discuss in the next session. But tomorrow we'll see how to integrate your Tomcat server with Jenkins and complete this pipeline, because this pipeline stage is still we have to work, right? So once your Tomcat server is ready, we'll see how to integrate this in Jenkins and configure it. Okay. And then we'll be discussing about two more topics, that is about the email notifications and the build triggers. So if you guys have any question, please let me know. I'm available for that now. Right. We understand the concept. Once practice, will let you know any doubts on tomorrow. So please update today's date title. It will be helpful to class with. Yeah, it is there. No, in my notes, if you can see here, right? It's all based upon the dates only, right? You can see. Today, it's updated or not? Yeah, it's updated. Did I? I did not. It's day 4, right? Okay. Yeah, I'll share the link with you shortly. Don't worry. I'll share this link for today's session. I'll be sharing the link. Yeah, it's up to date now. So let me share this link with you. People who are asking for this link, please save it or bookmark it somewhere, okay? Okay. Yeah, fine. Should I open the poll or yeah, poll is not open, right? Or it's open already. What is the question? I understand the concept, what practice needed to be able to classify topics. Okay, how much session left for Jenkins? See, tomorrow will be the last day for Jenkins. Okay, I told you, right? We have just two more topics. These are the last pending topics there in Jenkins. So tomorrow we'll be able to complete it. Don't worry. Why, any problem? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that should be fine. Are you guys okay with this? Yeah, even real time we use the same process, but it is not just about Jenkins. We use Docker as well. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be taking the module. Tomorrow I'll be taking this module. That means last topic, right? Tomorrow is the last day for Jenkins. I'll be completing Jenkins by tomorrow. Next module, I don't think so. I'll be handling. Okay, so you can enjoy. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, poll. I'm opening poll now. Don't worry. What happened? It's right. Okay. See, GitHub webhook, I haven't covered actually. So tomorrow, as part of build triggers option, I'll show you how to enable your GitHub webhook, your poll SCM, and build periodic options. Okay. Just follow that step. Tomorrow, you will get an answer for that, Mahesh. Easy. Just wait for one more day. Tomorrow, by this time, you will get answer for that. Because if I start about that, I don't think people will be able to make it up. So better we'll talk on tomorrow's session. All right. So any other questions from anyone, please let me know. I'm waiting because getting the poll link. Poll I just enabled, Mark. Please check once. Yeah, open the poll. I'm not sure. Okay. See, if you think I missed any of a question, please repost a question. Okay, it is not intentional, right? In your chat window, your questions are it's like no floating, right? So if you think any of your questions are missed, please repose the question and let me know so that we can talk about it. You can see still some of your saying topics are not clear. What does it mean? Maybe it's a new thing. Once you start practicing, just go through my class notes and recordings. Okay, tomorrow before you join the session, just go through my recordings and class notes once and then join. Whether you practice or not, that is secondary. At least half an hour before the session, go through my class notes step by step, including the installation documentation, right? Not just the class notes, including the installation process documentation. Go through it once and then join the session. If you have any question, let me know by tomorrow. Hey, class notes and recordings are there, right? Just go through that, okay? If you have any question, let me know by tomorrow. I'll explain that. Tomorrow, again, I'll be talking about pipeline only, right? We are going to discuss about the pipeline to complete the deployment process. Pipeline is not yet over. Okay, we'll be talking about this tomorrow. No, 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 no. Tomorrow is the last day, yeah. Tomorrow I'll be completing Jenkins. Why? I told you already. If you can see here, these are three topics in Jenkins. We'll complete this by tomorrow. I don't think it requires more time. By tomorrow, we should be able to complete it. Friday, do you have a mentor session or no, right? Then Friday, you'll be starting with a new module, or by Monday, you'll be starting a new module. It depends. There might be 1 day gap, right, between the modules. You can practice, and on you'll be getting a notification on that, like when your next module going to start. And don't worry, I won't be there for next module. Okay, that is for sure. That is what you're concerned, right? So, okay. Fine, guys. Any other question from anyone? Okay, thank you. If you don't have any question, close this call. So we'll connect tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.